This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details.
Got a FISA for you, Fairness and Stupidity Act. And we're just, this is your FICA, Fairness and Contrition Act. We're just being straight with you. During one of those vocal maintenance days, might have been last Friday, yours truly saw what can have some diamond in the rough to it in early July, where we in Vikings country and in a football loving North America or football loving United States of America, we recognize there's a lot coming at us within the next month. But along the way, we have Major League Baseball. So here's the FISA, Fairness and Stupidity Act. ESPN did a midway point of the season, like intel bit on all the teams. We ain't trying to care about the Cardinals or the Astros or the Diamondbacks or maybe the Red Sox. I mean, with all due respect to Teddy G, the Braves, all due respect to Brett Blakemore. So it's not like yours truly or 9 to noon, Paul Allen filling in for Nordo, was going to go over every team. But I'm like, okay, well, the Dodgers probably will be in the World Series, or they're one of the favorites. Let's cut and paste some things about the Dodgers, maybe the Yankees, maybe Tariq Skubal and his Detroit Tigers, then of course the Minnesota Twins, because ESPN putting out this midway intel, of course, last Sunday had to be leading into the All-Star break.
I always love that one.
Your boy thought the All-Star break began this week.
I always love that one.
But nevertheless, we got the Cubbies here beginning tomorrow night. That should be quite festive. And then the no-hitting Buccos over the weekend. And I will read a few things here coming up momentarily because there was something quite revealing to me. Well,
what was revealing to me is these vocal maintenance days were good.
What do you mean?
That's a good thing. I mean, if you're on vacation and you're chilling, you're doing your thing, you got fireworks at the park, the whole bit down at Canterbury.
Yes.
You're just taking a breath, baby girl's in town, the whole thing. If you lose track of the All-Star break, I think that's a positive thing for vocal maintenance. So I think it's okay.
Okay, let's take a positive and make it positiver.
Okay.
Let's make it better. Let's amplify it.
Yeah.
Your wife, Molly.
Yes.
Wonderful, wonderful, super tough woman.
She's amazing.
Super tough woman, very strong woman. However, she's going to have to hear this next week because you're going to tell her, look here, I'm going with Paul sometime next week to Colorado because Friday night he's going to have a ticket for me to the Minnesota Twins at the Rockies at Coors Field. And there's nothing you can say about it. We got to find a babysitter, honey. So when it comes to vocal maintenance days, or Cinco de Nordo or Coors Field de Nordo, think about that. A week and change.
That sounds amazing.
Let's go to Colorado and go to Coors and watch the Minnesota Twins.
I'm in. Book it.
Out of the All-Star break, actually.
Coors Field, by the way, despite the team being awful, still find a way to get fans into the park, which means that that is a scenery spectacular at Coors Field.
What I will do while I'm gone on vocal maintenance days is, like Nordo and I, we like sports. Shocker. We like to read things and find things that are interesting to us, and hopefully we have the ability to make what's interesting to us interesting to you. So what I will do is I will find a bunch of stories over the course of X amount of days, and I will save them within my email.
Yep.
One of them involves DeMaurice Smith, the former president or executive director of the NFLPA.
Yeah.
National Football League Players Association. Florio has a new bit. Florio's bit by a new bit. D. Smith has a book coming out.
Oh, here we go.
And see, I can't find it. Maybe I'll find it for tomorrow.
Is it called Cousin of Mine? And now Florio's mad because he thinks there's a connection there and he's kind of breaking the lineage streak that he was making with his own books?
If you reside in West Virginia and you write a book called Cousin of Mine,
I always love that
It's a love story.
It might be a love story for a certain part of Barnes & Noble. But we digress. The Florio's all over it because the publisher for D. Smith's book that's coming out is like releasing excerpts. And they're doing a really good job at releasing these excerpts, by the way. Like the most recent one that came out, I mean, he's like negative on Roger Goodell. It's not like he's going to come out and like read emails from John Gruden to Bruce Allen with the Washington, was it Redskins, WTF, WFT, or Commanders. It's not like he's going to, put himself in a compromising position where somebody's going to sue him. But he's getting a little open here about what negotiations were like with the NFL and with Goodell. And he went after Aaron Rodgers pretty hard in one, supposedly in one. So you didn't see this last week?
I did not see this.
Okay, it might have popped on Friday, but I got super excited for it now, and I wrote most of it out. Now I can't find it because he references the soundbite we have from Aaron Rodgers. He references, paraphrasing, you'd say something and like Aaron never paid attention in these NFLPA meetings, and all you would hear was his groan.
I always love that.
And I'm like, I'm so excited. We actually have this soundbite that we can drop in as we follow along, but for whatever the reason I can't find it.
Here's where, one thing, do you ever, exhausted is hyperbole, but whether it's DeMaurice Smith or somebody that was in what we would consider to be a prestigious position for a long time, they come out and they write these books and they write in some ways these scathing monologues of, you wouldn't believe how awful it was I was there.
Yeah.
That's kind of it. And some of that require, you appreciate it and respect it. Maybe you're getting insight and you're finding some credence to what they're talking about.
I think I know where you're going here.
But you spent all this time taking money, getting paid at a very high level in a spot that would be, you could say maybe highly wanted or highly sought after by those in the legal business.
Yes.
And you sat there and you put the smile on and all of that. And then now you in some ways come out and wouldn't know how hard I had it, guys.
Right.
Oh, you wouldn't believe how you participated in that. You thrived within that environment for years. And now that you're out of it, you're just taking shots at everybody that you interacted with for years. I find that there's a little bit of a money grab. There's a little bit of an underhanded nature to that. So I have a hard time getting too uppity about it. But in the end, though, we know this is true. We believe that part, I suppose.
But if you're getting $4 to $7 million a year to be the NFLPA executive director, well, those groans don't matter to you every other week when you're cashing those checks.
I always love that.
Yeah, the sound of the till actually would outpace and drown out this. So best of luck to him on the book. And of course Florio's digging into this. That's the perfect Florio. We're looking for morsels. Yes. We're looking for midway season bits.
Yes.
We're looking for long Seifert NFL pieces to sink our teeth into. Division what do you expect from the quarterbacks?
He's trying to see which person Bill Belichick's girlfriend pissed off this week.
Correct.
I always love that one.
Florio's the grave digger because he wants to find all the bones, PA, and this is a perfect summertime feast for him.
So if I can find it, I'm going to read through it tomorrow with maybe a football segment or 2 or 3 with dealer's choice and talkbacks and everything. And yours truly, I've said this before. It's like if I'm on vocal maintenance days, and I'm not like abroad or out of the country or something, is I like 9 to noon. I like Nordo. Nordo does a great job when he fills in. I like the guests we have 9 to noon. They're not only guests and informative, but they're friends. So I'm not one that's like, I just got to turn the whole thing off and just pretend KFAN doesn't exist while you're on these vocal maintenance days. No, I text with Nordo sometimes during the shows. So, I listened to a fair amount last week, and I heard a little bit, but I didn't get the context or really the wide-ranging, wild-related opinion with Vladimir Tarasenko.
Yeah.
So, when that popped, what was the consensus? Did people seem to be happy? Were there slings and arrows of outrageous negatives coming at the team or at you? I mean, I know he's old, but Vladimir Tarasenko, though, holy cow, that's kind of a cool name.
Yeah, it is a cool name. I think it was really balanced. One thing I was talking with Russo last week and some others, and prior to vocal maintenance, the thing with Russo, and he was pretty consistent with it, joining you, joining me, is that when this date hits, we've had this thing marked on our calendar for years now, right? We are financial freedom. We're finally out of debt. We paid off all our student loans.
Yes.
So once the buyout cash was
they were paid off for us.
I always love that one.
Continue.
But once that money became available, there was the idea that the clouds would open up, this bright light would shine down on us, and it would be a spending spree of some sort, and maybe this team gets markedly better overnight. And I thought Russo was doing a really good job with some clues and some foreshadowing of sorts that, watch out, guys. Based on this crop and based on who's available, you might not see the explosion that you're anticipating. So prudence and patience is required. And then you started seeing, even prior to last week's July 1st, wake up, it's the first of the month, you started seeing a lot of guys maybe falling off the board because they were re-signed by their current teams. And then you have the cap going up, which allows a team like Florida to pull rabbits out of hats and re-sign all three of those big-timers that just helped them raise their second cup in a row. So you have that balance side of it where we always kind of knew that it was going to be a bit slow going. There was going to be a bit of a slog for the general manager. The other side of it, Tarasenko?
Right.
What? I would bet that there's a fair number of people. Now, this is the state of hockey. I know that the most educated fan base in America. There has to be at least a couple of fans like me who kind of almost started to forget that Tarasenko was still in the league. And this is a guy who a year ago had actually won a cup with the Florida Panthers, but was playing 13 minutes a night. Not exactly in that game-changing position that he spent all those years terrorizing us, Tarasenko terrorizing us in St. Louis. And then a year ago, he kind of languished with the Red Wings. So I think the consensus is, based on what was available, you appreciate the idea that he didn't go all in on somebody with high term and high dollars, and that at this stage, this is the only type of move that a Guerin could make.
Yeah.
And then you bring a little bit of 40-year-old rubidity into it, and you say, but what if, PA?
Right.
What if Vladimir finds his skates, finds his form, and returns to greatness wearing the Christmas colors, and then also the tutelage. The tutelage that a Vladimir Tarasenko can provide to a Danila Yurov, who will be coming here to the Minnesota Wild this time around. So I think that's kind of the mindset. It's a balance. There are those frustrated he didn't do more. You can kind of understand why it's happening, but maybe some frustration or just bitter taste might still remain in some respects. But the tutelage of a Yurov, the potentially finding his form, what was ultimately a pretty dry market in terms of options that the general manager had. I think that's where everything lies at this stage, and still kind of trying to, now it's, when's 97 going to be re-signed? Mm-hmm. We need to go find 6 more Russians and add them to the team, and maybe that'll make Kirill feel like home, and then he'll make sure to sign the 8 and 120 or whatever it'll be. I think that's where we're at right now. I think just get Kirill back, and I guess in some ways run it back with Tarasenko in 2025.
What about Nico Sturm? Same thing. Just it's fortifying the covenant. Let's see what happens.
Well, I think with any good team, you need depth. And Nico Sturm, not a sexy name per se, but Nico Sturm, guess what? The last time we won faceoffs was like Koivu's rookie year.
Right.
And this guy was top 5 in the NHL in faceoff wins a year ago.
Oh, wow. You're playing fast.
So I'm not big like, I know where he's going to be. He's second line this, third line that, whatever. That's not me. But I will say that this is a guy that can win faceoffs, and this is the type of player that good teams have that work through your depth. So I think that, and it's a 2x2. It's not really an insane contract, but you're gonna have Nico here, and of course he's familiar with the facilities, being a former member of the Wild. So very, very unglitzy, very unglamorous in terms of what transpired. But it does truly feel, and I know the fan base, like we're running out of excuses that we're willing to take to pallet in terms of the general manager. Yeah, we get it. The money's gone. Yeah, we get it. This situation, this didn't work out. Yeah, we get it. We're constantly injured. I hear all that. But overall, I think Nico's a good pickup. You wish that there was something a little heavier as part of that, a little superstar to go with it. But where we're at, I think that the general manager can certainly justify and validate what he did or did not do.
And in closing for this segment, sources have informed yours truly. Yesterday, Team Nordquist made a trip to the zoo. How was the zoo on a hot, humid day?
That was disastrous. I knew you'd bring that up. Here's the deal. Baby Hannah, you joke about her, the baby that smiles when she cries.
Yeah, she cries and she smiles, and it's the most adorable thing I've ever seen in my life.
It was high of 80, supposed to be nicer, or at least a little more realistic for a baby to be outside than it was on the 4th of July. It was like 85. We're at Como. Como does a good job. It was cool. Family's all there. Dad and his wife, the whole bit.
Did you see any giraffes?
We did see some giraffes.
Hey!
Yes. And the kids got to feed the giraffes. It's about a 45-minute drive from Team Nordquist in Chaska to Como.
Is that as the crow flies or because of all the diseased road work?
Yeah, there's some traffic L's. The time, so it's about 45 minutes to get there. Baby made it after another 10 minutes of parking. So let's put this, so now we're 55 minutes in from doorstep to parking spot.
Here they come.
Kid made it about a half hour.
Oh, too hot?
Too hot. Baby crying. Now we're trying to figure out, okay, if we can just calm her down, then we can, you know how it works. It was brutal. It was awful. Love the zoo. I know the kids love it. And, but baby made it about a half hour, and then we had to turn around and drive back home.
At 9 to noon yearly is not your, we are going to complain about every piece of construction or elevated traffic scenarios ever to happen that impacts our lives. Leader. Because I mean, it's every spring, summer, and early fall.
Yeah, and
it's like it's people are like, it's almost like they designed this road construction and these freeways and these highways and these major roads. So like it's directly impacting, like they were thinking of me because I go here and then I go there and I go there and everything's impeded by a lot of that work. Is that a situation with you? So like when you leave Team Nordo Central, are you like, and here's what I'm getting at, and my lot in life doesn't matter. I'm just using examples.
Sure.
Like 494, really east and west by Bloomington and then Richfield.
Right.
Got some disaster to it.
Yeah.
Got a little disaster to it from a timing standpoint.
Real bad.
Everybody stay safe out there with MnDOT or whomever fixing these roads or doing whatever you're doing. This is not an affront at those who are doing their jobs. It's just the complication that can come with it. Highway 13. When you get to 35.
Yeah.
Have you done that zipper merge bit? Are you kidding me?
I don't get down there often, but I'm familiar with that area.
Zipper merge though, you don't get many zippers that take place during things like this. So you got 13 east and west, which is busy in the first place. And then it's like the feeder for the zipper is 35 north off ramp.
Right.
So it's
you got to make big decisions in a hurry.
Yeah.
Or in other words, you
have to keep your faith in humanity.
Yeah.
Including ourselves. It's a look in the mirror moment. Whereas,
it's a test of will.
It's unbelievable how rude some people can be to just get one spot and say 15 seconds.
Yeah.
But then I sit back and because I happen to frequent that area a fair amount. So I've been in that zipper a million times. It's for the way I do it. It's, you just got to kind of think back or sit back and be like, we don't know what kind of day that person's been having.
Sure.
And by the way, they may deal with this zipper 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times a day with what they do.
Yeah.
And we're like in it, maybe once a week or minimal times a month. But the zipper, though, anything around you that's having you second guess humanity?
Well, I have a couple of zippers that I got to jump in on my way here in the mornings, but it's fine. No, here's where I've taken it.
Yeah.
Whether it's road construction, all of those things. You're right. In finding more dignity in humanity and offering that grace to people.
Yeah.
I can tell you from a driving standpoint that's something I've had to work a ton on in my adult life.
Yeah.
As it pertains to construction, though, I decided years ago that I was either going to investigate how all of these projects are planned. I want to know, whether it's a funding mechanism. I want to know how it's all organized and scheduled.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm not going to go and find all that out, just take a freaking breath and deal with it.
Very good point.
That's where because I don't understand the process.
I like that.
I understand from a weather standpoint.
Yep.
94, guess what? 94 up there in the Maple Grove area is one of the most traveled area. It might be the most from a car standpoint, maybe, and then somewhere maybe 35, like the two most traveled areas in the state. Of course, considering weather and all of that those are going to be the two places that always feel like a freaking lane's closed. Just going 94, coming home from the zoo, you go from 3 lanes to 2 lanes to 1 lane, all within a half mile with a merge from, I think it's from 280.
Yes.
Coming from the left side. It was a disaster, but you just slow down, you chill with it, make sure you got Hoffman Heating and Cooling to make sure the AC works when you're at home.
Love it.
You got Metropolitan Ford to make sure the AC is working in the car.
You're going to get home, and Thousand Hills is going to have that box of meat on your front, on your stoop, and it's going to be chilled in the dry ice, so you ain't got to worry about anything.
The Thousand Hills brisket. It is so good.
My, oh my.
No, I think as I get older, maybe I've been tired by my own selfishness that I take a breath more so in the car than I ever have before.
Okay, so yesterday, heat index 91 with the humidity. Best laid plans for the Nordquist family to go to the Como Zoo.
Yeah.
The baby who smiles while she cries. Shorten the day dramatically, and then you jump out and you get into a zipper merge. How'd you handle it?
I always love that one.
I was apoplectic.
Yes, he's loose! All right, it's 10:30. You're listening to 9 to Noon. It's Paul Allen filling in for Mad Producer. We have Parker Fox joining us 30 minutes from now, and several other things into which we will dive, including Vikes Bites around the corner. And Eric Nordquist, he leads Vikes Bites each and every day. We unfurl it, and he also has the cash thing, and here it is.
Yeah, the fan, along with BigDeck.com, want to give you a chance to win some bonus bucks with the National Cash Contest. The keyword this hour is bank. You can enter bank at KFAN.com. Use the keyword bank at KFAN.com. Here we go, Paul! Time for Vikes Bites. Vikes Bites! And Vikes Bites is always brought to you by Thousand Hills Lifetime Grazed Grass-Fed Beef. You can shop online. Box of meat shows up at your doorstep. You can go to your local Coburns, Co-ops, and Kowalski's as well. But the website's cool. Explains regenerative agriculture, and there's a scientific aspect to healthy cows, healthy beef, and terrific product on your dinner table. Go to the website, thousandhillslifetimegrazed.com. And we'll start here. I wanted to kind of build off the theme of we're just a few weeks away from this. And I'm going to start with Justin Jefferson describing a certain player who was just listed as number 98 in the NFL's top 100.
Seeing him on the opposite, side of the ball in Green Bay and seeing how athletic he is and seeing how difficult he is to go down. It definitely feels a lot better seeing him in purple and gold than the green and gold.
Yeah, purple and gold instead of green and gold. Things I'm looking forward to. And you hit on it in the opening segment, PA. Year 2 of Aaron Jones, matched with Jordan Mason and this tandem of running back fury that we are going to be unleashing on the NFC North and the rest of the NFL. And PA, it's not just about Aaron Jones and the individual work, although we want that to be good. It's not just about Jordan Mason and the individual work. We want that to be good. But this is part of the grander conversation of what needs to be good so that number 9 is good, as in J.J. McCarthy.
Yeah.
And I think part of that lends to watching this running back tandem, whether we're talking short yardage, that brings you to the O-line. We're talking about passes out of the backfield, potentially bringing play action into it. We went in length a week or two ago about maybe how this thing could look. We're stealing. If Flores is watching Fangio tape, maybe KO is watching McVay tape or, XYZ quarterback du jour. So the idea of getting this running back tandem, the ability to see that ultimately, pads on pads, thudding in Egan, joint practices included. Really pumped in a few weeks to be able to see Aaron Jones with Jordan Mason and just what this running game might look like.
Just a couple of things for now, because a lot more will develop in just a few weeks. Why? Because a lot is on charging. A lot is on the horizon. We're 3 Saturdays from offensive line autographs at Twin Cities Orthopedics Performance Center. We're 3 Wednesdays from 9 to noon doing a training camp radio show with training camp underway. And we're also 3 weeks from watching the context of what we can expect from the story developing, and the running game. And with Jordan Mason, that's going to be big, because just the 2 things for now. One is routes to finding ways to keep Aaron Jones as close to completely together for the entire season. So, like I said last year, man, and I dig Aaron. He's cool and he's good and he's fast. But the thing is like they would use him during the week of practice as the bell cow back, as you're the top back and you get the majority of the plays here. So therefore, when he would get banged up during games, it just made things wonky and or difficult when somebody would come in and then you're like waiting for Aaron to come back, or like what's the situation? So the during game bit, maybe they can put more on Mason's plate to minimize that, or hopefully minimize that.
It's such a great point too. It's so vital. We can simultaneously celebrate. I think he had the most touches, and I should have his stats in front of me. My bad. But,
Stat head.
But you know where I'm going with this, where he had the most touches. He had XYZ this. He made all 17 games. And for a guy that had missed a bunch of games, that's a good thing. But how good were those games that he made? And if you could take 30 touches off his plate and hand those to Jordan Mason, but those remaining Aaron Jones touches were potentially a bit more explosive. He got an extra half yard to carry. Maybe he had an extra couple touchdowns. He had 10 more catches over the course of the season. Keeping him healthy so that he makes all 17 games and can be more impactful, specifically in December and January, certainly an A topic with Aaron and this team.
And secondly, we've said this before, but it's going to get louder, at least with yours truly, because I really, really believe it matters with McCarthy and the debuting nature of these regular season games for JJ. High first round draft pick or not. Vibrant, vivacious, smart kid or not. There are going to be moments where he's going to have a tough time in certain situations very early in his run.
Yeah.
Happens to everybody. The point being is I just don't hear it enough. The acumen and or wherewithal of the offensive coaching staff, knowing, because they'll see it and we won't, where he's struggling. And the positions in which they do not prefer to put him early in the equation as he matures and grows.
Right.
I mean, shoot, the kid grew an inch and a half from age 21 to 22.
I always love that one.
Most adorable thing I've ever seen. So Mason and Jones and Mason, Ty Chandler, C.J. Ham, whomever, the ability to beat you running when they need to as they raise this quarterback, and then have it be a season-long theme where, we drafted Donovan, we got Ryan, we got Will Fries, we think we can move you between the tackles, and we know this guy can they both can run between the tackles, but the former Niner, that's what he does incredibly well. So that right there, people are going to look at it like, okay, well, you're morphing the offense to include something that you've needed. Now you have it. But the underlying tone is they can utilize it more frequently than people see coming to raise the quarterback exactly the way they want him raised. So they don't have to put him in situations where you're having to do things very early in a run, talented or not, that you don't want him to do, because you don't want him to get discouraged. You just don't want quarterbacks to get discouraged. So I mean, what do we got here? We got at Ben Johnson, and then we got Penix here, and then we got Burrow here, right? Those are the first 3?
Yeah.
And then it's the Dublin bit
Yep.
And then the Tottenham Hotspur, then they chill. Of those 5 games, I think 4/5 of them, or minimum 3/5 of the under.
I always love that one.
Whelming variety. Now the coach wants to throw, so he's going to have to control himself. But when you have this running game and this new quarterback, I just think that there's going to be a lot of clock chewing and some lower scoring games early in the season. Jordan Mason's going to play into it.
I love that. And I mean, the ability, by the way, if this run game thing works and we see what we're talking about, not only does that support the QB, the ability to salt away an 8-point lead, a 10-point lead, the 4-minute drill, so to speak, at the ends of games. I cannot wait for it. One more for you. Vikes Bite, brought to you by Thousand Hills. Are we going to spend the year kind of talking? Is this potentially a swan song for this guy?
Empty backfield for Danny Dimes. 3 receivers left, 2 right on 4th down. Back to pass, throws to the end zone. And it is intercepted by Harry the Hitman. Harrison Smith with an interception, the 35th of his career. And the blowout continues with the Vikings leading by 22, turning over old Danny Dimes.
I think it'd be dumb of me and way too presumptuous to assume that this is absolutely the last year of his career as, 94. I remember Flores, we want to take reps off Hitman, but I can't take him off the field.
Right.
My defense isn't as good when he's standing next to me on the sideline. But Harrison Smith makes the money work. He's coming back. So while we're focused on the QB and all of these things, is it potentially the final season for a guy that has 37 picks, 20.5 sacks, all those games, all those highlights, all those memories, the pick sixes, specifically earlier in his career, all those memories for one of the great Vikings of all time, potentially a guy that has a Canton-worth resume. And amidst everything else that we got going on, want Christian Darrisaw to get back on the field. We can't forget about 22 PA. This could be a swan song for the Hitman.
Yeah, I mean, if it's the you have to be right heaven or hell equation, and you got to like God's like you got to make a call. Well, then I would have to say this is the last season.
Yeah,
as opposed to speculating there could be more, but maybe there could be more. I didn't, he's right at the end. But see, for Harrison, he enjoys the team, enjoys the teammates, really, really likes the defensive wherewithal of what Flores does with your 3-4 hybrid with floaters. Why? Because he's a floater. Gets to go all over the place like Polamalu. But he had some really good moments last year. So at this stage, what is it, year 14? I think, are we...
Let me find it here.
Yeah, I think we're
year 14.
Yeah. 12 or 14.
Wow.
But, I mean, seriously, that's a lot.
It is.
But he keeps his body in shape and he treats himself the right way so that he's able to withstand the wear and tear of what's coming at him in just a few weeks. But yeah, I'm not going to think about it or like make predictions on it. But if I had to go heaven or hell and you got to be right, then I probably would say, yes, this is the last year, the con.
Vikes Bites!
Vikes Bites.
Thank you so much, Thousand Hills Lifetime Grazed Grass-Fed Beef, for bringing you Vikes Bites. Matt and everybody up in Clearwater, Minnesota. Support local, support Thousand Hills.
When we return, our version of a sports update called News du Nord is around the corner. Then P. Fox Parker will join us in studio at 11 o'clock to mix it up for a little while at FM 100.3 KFAN.
Van.
News du Nord brought to you by The Casino at Canterbury Park. Poker, blackjack, and table games at Canterbury every day, all year round. You can go to CanterburyPark.com to learn more. Have some sips at chips. You're tipping Derek Allen.
Or sitting on the 580 you beat us for at blackjack 2 weeks ago and never coming back to the racetrack. Yeah, you can do that too, everybody.
You certainly can. And then what you can do is you can dump all of that into Dave's Faves on a fat pick 5 with the lowest takeout in the country and have an opportunity to really cash some chips on the live racing side. Returning to normal schedule this week, PA, Wednesday, Saturday, Sunday?
We are adding a Thursday this week.
Oh, sweet.
So here's the deal. Canterbury Park, where the people come to play. Canterbury Park, where the crowds have been terrific every day. Horses sing. Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday at 5. Sunday is Extreme Day, so we race zebras and ostriches and camels, along with the thoroughbreds. So that's CanterburyPark.com to get tickets for that. It's a very popular day. And then we break for a week and a half. No live racing for a week and a half. We got the rodeo coming to Canterbury Park a couple of weekends from now. 3-day rodeo event. You can get tickets for that too at CanterburyPark.com. Thanks for asking.
Does that include roping hogs and barrel racing as part of the rodeo?
The barrel racing, I don't believe. The roping of the hogs, yes. I'm in deeply rooted negotiations with Randall Sampson, the CEO, chairman of the racetrack, about you and I being two of the clowns.
Okay. I always love that one.
Who like chase the bulls and stuff like that, and we pop out of barrels and we get to startle people.
If forced to participate in one of these, which would you do? Run the shirtless 40 and pay off now what is I believe a decade-old wager.
At least.
Something stupid about like the Thunder beating the Spurs in the playoffs.
Yeah, Russell Westbrook was on the Thunder when I took that L.
That's correct. So run the shirtless 40 on camera or mount a bull.
Oh, geez. We have for the barrel racing time and the rodeo time, we have a mechanical bull.
Oh, for real?
That we'll put on the grandstand apron, a bunch of padding around it and stuff. And I'll watch occasionally between races. I'll put my binoculars on it to see how it works. And it's so deceptive. It starts out all slow and you're holding on. And I'm a cowboy. Look at me. I'm a cowboy.
I can really do this.
Until they speed it up and it proves that you're all hat and no cowboy.
I always love that one.
That thing just looks like that thing looks like, for old people like me, like a back injury in the making.
I'm going to put my tinfoil hat on for a second. And it is my belief. And I've never actually, I think this is a long-held standard that for the mechanical bulls at bars and other locations, that if you are a female, that they will kind of ease into it and just kind of, have fun up there and everything.
Where are you going with this?
And then eventually they'll toss you off. Okay. They give you the 15 or 20 seconds.
One way to put it.
Of fun. If you are a guy, in particular, if you or I would go up there, they're starting out at world-class level bull riding pace, and they want you to hurt.
No, they have sneaky controls.
I think they have sneaky controls.
No, but here's why they do, because you mentioned the female aspect of it. It's like it's these bulls go around in a circle and whatever.
Yes,
like,
they do.
And so to try to fling the person who's all hat, no cowboy. Well, then a lady gets on it, and I'm like, I didn't know that the bull went up and down and just keeps going up.
I always love that.
What are we doing with this bull? And you started it. Don't look at me. And then and Parker just came in here and
he just left.
I just got all hyper and everything. That kid makes me hyper. I adore him.
Twins won 2 out of 3. They do lose to the Rays yesterday, but they win a series, and now they take the day off. 6 to go before the break, and it'll be the Cubs tomorrow. Finale over the weekend will be the Pirates. Looking forward to Joe Ryan versus Skeens on Saturday. That's all the news I got for you, PA.
Parker Fox, former basketball player for the Golden Gophers basketball team, a staple within the FM 100.3 KFAN Covenant. He will be in studio, as he is wont to be on Mondays around the corner, and we will figure out what to discuss then. You're listening to the sports leader, FM 100.3 KFAN.